In today's episode, we're going to learn what the DOM is. It's kind of important to understand before we really delve into JavaScript and start working with it. This can be kind of confusing, so stick with me. I'm going to explain it to you in the simplest way I know possible and explain why if you use my mental model of understanding the DOM, it'll be so much easier to kind of get a grip on what it is and how to use it. All right, so like we've done before, let's jump over to W3 Schools. Click this JavaScript tab up at the top. All right, so once we're in here, we're going to look at this sidebar here, and this is going to show you like all the things that you can do with JavaScript, all its capabilities, with examples and stuff like that. So keep scrolling down. So just when you get here, you're going to start at the home. Just scroll down, keep scrolling down, and you'll see right here, JS HTML DOM, and that's about a little over halfway down, okay? So what I want you to do is click this thing that says DOM intro. I'm going to read this for you. I'm going to go through it, but I really want you to, this is a great example of like how in programming lots of things are like, they, to a beginner can seem like super overcomplicated and very in-depth and all that stuff. While true, it is, it isn't. Here's the point I'm trying to make. Like I said, programming is this huge, like vast open thing, right? So like when I said it earlier, a couple videos back, I was like, just focus on like what you need to do right now. Don't look at the exterior. This is a great example of that. And so after we read through this short piece of documentation, and believe me, this is like training wheels documentation. You could go to the W3 school, or sorry, the Web Consortium website or whatever they call it. Basically, HTML and all this stuff is part of a consortium that like writes standards for things. And so everyone comes to an agreement on something and they say, okay, we're going to implement this. And then all the browsers adopt those new rules and program and all that stuff, blah, 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 blah. Not that you necessarily needed to know that, but I'm just giving you an example of like how vast programming is. Okay, so let's read through this documentation and then I'm going to give you like the most simplest breakdown ever so that you can have a mental model in your head of what the DOM is. Okay, so let's go. So you hit this page and you start reading it. It says, with the HTML DOM, JavaScript can access and change all the elements of an HTML document. Okay, so the DOM stands for Document Object Model. When a web page is loaded, the browser creates a document object model of the page. The HTML DOM model is constructed as a tree of objects. So right here, you're going to see your document, your root element, HTML, your head element, and then your body element. Within these, like we've already seen what a title is, and then the text for like whatever your page title is. We've already seen the body. We've already seen an H1 tag, and then the text inside of there. Okay, so this might be starting to, you might see some like correlation here, some relationship between the code, HTML code that we were working with earlier, and what they're trying to explain to you with this diagram of what the DOM is. So basically you can read all of this if you want, but essentially the DOM is a W3C Worldwide Web Consortium standard. Remember I was talking about those agreed upon standards. The DOM defines a standard for accessing documents. The W3C document object model is a platform and language neutral interface that allows programs and scripts to dynamically access and update the content, structure, and style of a document. So I don't know about you, but that's like so dry and bland, and my brain just like, you know, freezes. It's like, okay. So like, anyways, as I read that, that's actually a pretty good definition, but like if you have no context to relate to that, it's like you're going to miss it. You know what I'm saying? So essentially, let's just look here at the last thing. In other words, the HTML DOM is a standard for how to get, change, add, and delete HTML elements. Okay, now that's a closer, that definition basically is much better than the other one. It's more concise and it seems to get to the point better. Okay, so let's go back up here and look at this diagram that they're giving us. Okay, this is super confusing. So give me a minute and I'm going to break it down for you and make it real simple so that you got it in your head. Okay, 1 second. So this file right here is this highlighted file right there. Okay, so just imagine that. This is that file. So in this file, you have different things, different tags, right? So you have your H1 tag, which is like the big text, right? Then you might have like a P tag. You might have a title tag. You might have a body, right? So the document object model is basically this. Okay, so what you need to do if you want to like change the title of this, when you click a button or something, that's where JavaScript comes in. Okay, JavaScript is going to allow this static content, because it doesn't do anything. It's just a file, right? JavaScript though allows you to programmatically do things. So like you could add a button that when you click it will change the title of this or change the background color or whatever, etc. So basically the document object model is a way for you to manipulate anything on the page itself. Okay. And that's the document object model simplified. So in order to tie this all together for you so that you can understand how JavaScript and the DOM are related to one another, I'm going to show you this. I'm going to type some JavaScript in here into the console, and it's going to show you how we can grab something and work with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type document, which the DOM, document object model. So what we're doing is in JavaScript, we're saying, hey, get the document. So now we have the document. That's an object. Things that you work with inside of JavaScript are most of the time they're going to be objects. So when you think of an object, just think of it as a thing, like this piece of paper, right? This is the document that we're now checking out. Okay, so this is an object. Obviously, it's a thing. So we're saying grab this. So then the next thing I'm going to do is use a built-in command called query selector. Don't worry if this doesn't make sense. You'll learn this stuff in time. Also, like as I'm typing this in here, you can just add this to your notes and then look it up later, or you can work with it in the future, whatever you want. So basically I'm typing document query selector, then I have some parentheses, then I have 2 quotes, and then I'm going to type H1, and you'll see that automatically is going to highlight the H1 tag that's in here. Press enter and it's going to show you what that element is, okay? And obviously the text inside it. So that's the basic quick and dirty of the DOM. So essentially you have your JavaScript and then you have your HTML or whatever you're looking at visually on the screen. The JavaScript is going to allow you to interact with the DOM.